Hello, everyone. Welcome to the sixth and final session in American English Live Series 19. We are so excited that each of you are here with us today. My name is Chris McDonald, and I'll be with you here today, along with my colleagues behind the scene, Elena, who will be the moderator, helping answer your questions and responding to your comments during today's session. Let's begin today with these wonderful audience comments from our most recent webinar, Connecting Making an American Short Story with Spencer Salas. Let's see, first up, our first comment is from Vera in Belarus. They say the session was really useful and beneficial as it helped me learn more about how to work with short stories in classes. And it also inspired me to reread O. Henry stories. Great, thank you so much, Vera, for that wonderful comment. Next up, we have Pachili from Togo. They say, it was very extraordinary for me, especially the text-to-text link, as it will allow me to compare and highlight the similarities of books already read with my learners. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Next up, we have Guillermo from Panama. Just fantastic, Guillermo says. The session showed me a way to engage students to get more involved in literature, motivating them to look deeper on every piece of reading. Making connections makes the reading more attractive and interesting. Absolutely, making connections is wonderful. So yes, we love to see our teacher participants actively engaged in professional development. So please continue to share your thoughts about our webinars by offering us feedback through the end of session quiz form or by emailing them to americanenglishwebinars@fhi360.org. We may feature one of your comments during the next session. Throughout Series 19, we have been exploring a variety of strategies for building academic skills for success in the EFL classroom. We hope you are able to use the practical ideas that we have shared. So here's what to expect today. The session will be about 60 minutes long. The presenter will present the material, and I, as your host, will ask questions and make comments too. But we really hope to hear from you, our audience, so that we can address your ideas and experiences. Please share your thoughts using the comments feature or chat box during today's webinar. When our session comes to a close, you'll have an opportunity to receive a digital badge for your participation. At the end of the webinar, we'll share a link in the comments. Click on that link and complete a short quiz about today's session. You must answer 2 out of 3 multiple choice questions correctly. Once you have successfully passed the quiz, you can expect to get your badge via email within a week. And we are thrilled to announce the presentation lineup for AE Live Series 20, which begins on May 15th, 2024. Throughout the 6 webinars in Series 20, we'll explore topics related to listening instruction in the English language classroom. You can use the link being shared in the chat and comments to receive reminders about Series 20 events. We can't wait to learn with you all then. And now for today's webinar, the content-based instruction approach to English language teaching. This webinar will examine content-based instruction, or CBI, for various English language learner groups and in a diverse instructional context. Together, we will explore 3 strands: critical thinking and self-directed learning strategies, motivating and engaging students for more interaction, sustained reading activities and resources for incorporating whole books and texts, including fiction and nonfiction of interest to 21st century audience. In addition to clarifying the conceptual framework guiding CBI, the webinar will highlight and share effective teaching strategies and tools for implementing the CBI approach in a dynamic ELT classroom. And we are pleased to introduce our presenter, Fatiha Makloufi. Fatiha is the former executive director of the City University of New York Hostos Community College's college transition programs. She has over 20 years of experience implementing pre-college and other language programs for adults, including the ESL College Preparatory Program, English Links, SUNY Start, and the SUNY Language Immersion Program, which she directed from its inception in 2017. Fatiha has led numerous workshops, seminars, and forums within the US and abroad. Her areas of expertise include program leadership, pre-college skills and education, global citizenship, student-centered pedagogy, adult literacy, and CBI approaches. In her work, she is committed to high standards grounded in possibility, collaboration, commitment to diversity, and the belief that all students can learn. Welcome, Fatiha. We're so happy to have you with us here today.
I'm happy to be here, and welcome to the whole community who is joining us. So we're very excited to be with you. I'm going to talk, and Chris gave just a general background of what I have done, but my interest is language, and my passion has been languages and how to get to people to learn or to acquire new language. In my work as the director of immersion programs at the City University of New York, I have worked mostly with immigrants, international students, high school students, and people entering, getting ready for college. And one approach that has worked in general for us that we believe in is teaching focused on meaning or a content area or an area of study. And that's when teaching and learning is improved. They are improved. And so students naturally acquire academic skills and language skills that they need. So today's approach, and so that's what we're gonna focus on today, the CBI approach. All right, so quick review of what we're going to be covering today. We're going to just get an overview of the CBI approach and its guiding principles. We're also going to discuss how to use text and materials to implement CBI in a 21st century ELT class. We're also going to review strategies for incorporating self-directed learning to create a more dynamic ELT class. It's going to be the agenda. So the first piece is an overview. So we're going to just get a general overview of the CBI approach. Many of you have been reading about it and may have been immersed in it, maybe in other contexts, but today's we'll review some of these guiding principles. All right, so the first thing, and this is just a visual idea of what CBI is. The focus is on language and content. So content is the focus would be content objectives or content concepts and language skills, and then combining the two will make the CBI class for an ESL or EFL class. So this is the focus. So you have those two components that make a CBI that will help create the CBI approach. And so the mingling of the two is very crucial. So this is a visual rendering of what CBI is. Good. So we're going to jump in right away into how would a lesson plan, if you're going to be, you are mostly teachers here. So the idea is that you want to be thinking about what should a lesson plan look like. So this is a quick overview, general idea of a lesson plan for CBI. So you want to be focusing on language. In this context, language would be asking and answering questions using the present progressive. And the content would be environmental literacy. So the theme is environment in general, and environmental literacy would be the content area. These are your objectives for this lesson. And so your CBI lesson would be asking and answering questions about our ecosystems. So in this context, English is used as the target language to focus on content. So content will be also used to learn language skills. So there is a very synergetic connection between the two. All right, so the first question we want to engage you, we want to be think about one subject or content area that you'd like to try with your classes. and use the chat to teach and share your ideas. Just think about one subject, right?
Yeah, everybody, it's your turn. As always, we'd love to hear from you, our wonderful teacher participants and other participants. So what is one subject content you currently use or you would like to try using to teach your students English? We'd love to hear from you. Please share with us in the chat. I know, Fatiha, I've used many different areas. I love incorporating art, for example. I'm seeing Marco in the chat is saying he uses literature, which is wonderful. Lots of people are giving greetings from all around the world. We've got people from Tanzania. Hello, Irene. One of the others, Alam, is saying they talk about using food, which is really interesting. That's great. Let's see what else we have. We have Jacqueline Viscara saying new technology gadgets. Monomal is talking about linguistics. Lords is saying history. Grace Morrow is talking about climate change effects. We've got a few more literature. So lots of great subject content areas our teachers are using or would like to try. And I also am seeing from Marwa science as well. So lots of great ideas. Everybody, please keep them coming throughout today's webinar. Back over to you, Fatiha.
Yes, these are all great topics and content areas. They're very general, but also very engaging. All right, so I think this is just a quick overview as we delve into CBI, and then most of this session is going to be hands-on and tools and all that, but we just wanted to give you an overview. I think it's good to get an idea of where this comes from. So CBI really is guided by 4 principles, and I think it's important to remember this. The first principle is that CBI is focused on subject matter core. So what guides the curriculum is a content area. It's a focus on a content area or a study area. So teachers are focused on content rather than grammar or form. Of course, you're going to be teaching those skills, but that's not the focus. The focus is content that is guiding what language you're going to be teaching. The second principle is CBI uses authentic materials. So the idea is to immerse students in rich nonfiction and also fiction, writing, reading, and articles that are really interesting and authentic. They may be also, they are really articles that are meant for native speakers of the language. However, you're going to also find adapted materials that have been adapted from authentic materials, and that's also good. In a CBI class, there is also this notion of new information. So students are engaged. You want to find a way to engage them in connecting with a concept or content that would be interesting to them, but is new. So you want this notion of learning and inquiry and innovation. So you want students to be excited about learning something new. The final principle, and it's very important, is that in a CBI class, you are meeting students' needs. So you have to be thinking about what needs in terms of their level, their interests, what needs do they have that you want to meet. So contextually, content-based and language, you want to be thinking about meeting their needs midway, at least. But this is very important. All right. So this is just a quick list of what benefits, why would I need CBI approach? What are the benefits? So this is just summarizing in practical terms what the CBI approach will do. So the focus of CBI, the benefits is that it would help develop core academic skills. So we're talking about reading, writing, thinking skills, especially students are going to go to a college or higher level institutions. So you want them to be getting those skills. In a CBI class, learning is focused on, language learning is focused on meaning. So the meaningful use of the language should be engaging. And you also want language to be fun, anxiety-free. So that's very important, because the more anxiety-free the environment is, the more open to learning students will be. So CBI actually can be used with any group, primary, secondary, and university students. But I'm going to caution you, it may not work. I mean, the idea is that you want students to have some very basic English skills. It's not for people who are really at that level. You want to build on some basic English skills. So if someone has 0 level in English, it will not work for them. CBI is really adding to that. And the final benefit would be the helping students develop essential 21st century skills. And that's very important. Great. So let's review some of these 21st century skills. A lot of you are aware of these skills. Many of these skills have been documented in UNESCO goals, universal goals for the 21st century learners. They have also been well documented and researched by the Partnership for 21st Century Skill in the US, and you can use that as a resource. So the skills that the idea that CBI is focused on really is, these are the skills, so the 4 C's. 4 C's, and that's just critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity. Innovation, information, literacy, leadership, and responsibility. So these are the key skills that CBI will help develop. And I just wanted to share this with you. Great. Now that we have had an overview of the CBI approach in general terms, let's get into it in a deeper way. So one set of tools that you're going to use that CBI will require, because we're talking about authentic materials and all that, you have, I mean, to be focused on using and adapting text and OER and other materials for CBI. When we're talking about text, so it could be books, newspapers, and also OER, which are open educational resources. What's exciting about OER, these are resources that anyone can access. These are good resources that have been vetted. They have been shared by teachers, program managers, directors, great innovative high schools. All types of contributors have contributed texts and books and resources that are free and good, and they're accessible to anyone. You don't have to pay for this. You could just do your research. If you have, once you have your content area, then it would be easy to find the materials. And you could see here, we have added samples for you here, visuals, stories, wonderful biographies that you can share with your students. So lots of materials. Great. So now that we talked about materials, I'd like you to just take a minute and think about what challenges, this is a question, might you face when looking for effective CBI materials for your class or context? Just think about that.
Yeah, everybody, take a moment to let us know about the challenges that you might be facing when you're looking for effective CBI materials for your class or context. We'll give you a few moments to share in the chat. I will say, Fatiha, great overview of CBI, lots of wonderful comments coming in. Everyone's agreeing with the benefits and the essential 21st century skills. Lots of people are excited to hear about the OER resources, absolutely free and good resources. So let's see, Fatiha, what people are saying, some challenges they might be facing. We have Sayara here in the chat saying some challenges might be different interests of students. Some Rosanna is saying maybe some misinformation or getting accurate information. Marla is saying individual differences between students' levels. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of different English language levels, student interest. So lots of different things people are having challenges with. So again, I'm seeing a couple more accessibility, just difficulty understanding authentic materials. And just there's sometimes too much information in how to choose the correct materials for your class. So some teachers are struggling with that. So just making sure they can access them, how to find them. And a couple of teachers that work with young learners, they're saying that they might find it difficult to pick the right topic for young learners too. So lots of great comments, everybody. Yes, these are all challenges that we face when looking for CBI, but I bet you Fatiha is going to help us solve these challenges. So back over to you, Fatiha.
Yeah, I think materials are going to be the biggest challenge, finding the right materials and adapting them to your population, making sure they're appropriate culturally and all that. So it's going to be some leg. I mean, you have to look at resources. We are sharing with you very good resources that are free and accessible to you. And it's going to be in the resource slide that we'll share with you. There's a lot of materials there that are free and good.
We're also sharing the link to the resources in today's presentation. We've also shared that in the chat, everybody, too. So great, let's carry on.
Great. So now that we talked about materials, the next set of tools, it's like a toolkit. You have CBI, but you have your toolkit. The second set would be strategies. How am I going to engage? What does CBI mean in a classroom situation? Am I not teaching the same way? So these are visuals of what CBI, when you think of CBI, you're talking about dynamic teaching. It's not a teacher-centered environment. It's you are including students in helping themselves learn. They become self-directed learners. So these are some ideas of how to present and use content for CBI. So you want to incorporate podcasts, for example, field trips, very important, videos, music and art, very important, experiments and case studies, especially more advanced students, you could do that. Guest speakers, you may have someone who, for example, if you're teaching English, you may have someone who can speak from the community, who can use English, or someone from the embassy, or anyone you could use in your local community who can come and speak to students on a topic. Cooperative learning, news updates. So these are all ideas. So as you can see, students are very involved. It's group work, pair work, people walking, people listening. It's a lot of interactive work. So this is what CBI looks like. All right, so the third set of tools that you should have in your toolbox is, we talked about materials. You also are engaging students in reading and interacting with difficult, sometimes complex content. It's okay. Students are the idea is to engage students, push them to reach out. But at the same time, by supporting them, making it accessible to them. So these are some ideas. So when you present material, you really have to provide a lot of cognitive supports. So KWAL chart is a wonderful graphic organizer as students are reading and writing. What do I already know about this topic? What do I want to learn from this topic? What did I learn from this article? So this is a quick way of getting students to interact with the text. It could be a short text, but they have a job, they have to start thinking already. A graphical organizer, for example, if it's a picture, an image, and with the text, what do I see? What do I know? What does this mean? So it's a way to get students to start reflecting, reacting to what they are reading. And what lessons about our local ecosystem did you learn from the text? So you want to be providing a lot of support. Look at the ladder. So this is the scaffolding. So you really have to support students by giving them outlines, summaries, agendas, study guides, graphic organizers, copies of PowerPoints, Realia, which has objects that they can manipulate. So you want to use a lot of support, very important. All right, so now it's your turn. We would like you to think about what aids or strategies can you use, or would you have you used to help students access language? What cognitive supports have you used in your classes, or you may want to use?
Yeah, everybody, it's your turn. We'd love to hear from you. Fatiha shared some cognitive supports, but we are wondering what types of strategies or scaffolding do you use to support cognitive to make language more comprehensible for your students? I loved all of your ideas, Fatiha. I use all of those too when I'm teaching. We have Sayara saying that she uses video clips, which is great. Other people are saying different scaffolding strategies and visual aids. We had one teacher in our audience just saying tapping into their students' prior knowledge or their background information. I think that's really good. Another teacher uses lots of online applications as well. I'm seeing lots of teachers saying, like Maria saying, lots of visual supports. So that's great. Very similar to you, mind maps and outlines, like visual aids. Other teachers are talking about they use maybe short games or short dialogues. And Tina is saying that she uses Socratic seminars. Momo is saying group discussions. So lots of teachers have wonderful strategies, as expected. We have wonderful teachers. So thank you so much, everybody, for these great comments, great ideas, and thanks for sharing.
Okay, now we can delve into some more text and materials that you could use that would also engage students with 21st century skills. So I just want to walk you into a model CBI. This is a lesson plan for CBI class. So as you can see here, the teacher has said, my content objectives, they are very clear. The students will be able to understand the meaning and importance of family and community, because that's her theme. The language objective, students will be able to use vocabulary such as family, shelter, humans, factory, and work, and also adjectives. So there is focus on vocabulary and grammar. So as you can see. And then the materials are very clear. There'll be an article, pictures, video, and worksheets, very clear. And then the focus would be 21st century skills, critical thinking, and communication. So this is the focus of her lesson plan. It's very, so that's what you want to do, is to make it very clear. And in this lesson, there is a warm-up, which is an warm-up or an icebreaker, you know, as you engage students quickly into the topic, introduction to the theme, and a presentation. So you get into, you could have an article, or you could have a discussion, or you show you should show a video and a discussion about the theme. So you're presenting the material. And then you have a practice activity. These are just ideas, so you could have more than one practice activities. Students will practice interviewing each other on a typical family or community tradition, because that's the theme. So this would be one activity that you can use. And of course, you would have a student, you would have an application, additional or a homework. And then you have, the teacher will also have student evaluation. You may want to do a little quiz or test. That's what she means by evaluation. And a teacher reflection. Some teachers add that for themselves. As they reflect on their lesson plan, they write what they have learned from it, the takeaway, did it work, not work? Especially if you're doing CBI for the first time, it's nice to make notes of what you're going through. And then you can share this with another colleague as you learn, because it's a learning process. And then it's good to make notes of what has worked or not. Great. So again, this is another practice activity. If you have young learners or not very advanced, students, the intermediate level English students, these are just, again, examples of activities that you can engage them in. Students read a simple article about the environment in their community. It could be a short article. They read about it. And then students watch a short video clip on the environment or local news in their community. Again, you can have graphic organizers, you can have tools to get students to take notes after the activity. This is just a short description of the activity. Step 3, students will work in pairs, writing questions about an aspect or question they have about the essay or video clip. Again, these are you're combining language and content objectives. You're getting them to practice writing questions, and the focus is on a specific content. Here, students use sentence starters to write a description of what they have learned. And then finally, students share their statement in small groups. So as you can see, although these activities seem very short and brief, they're very engaging, and you can build a lot with that. You can add your graphic organizers, your summaries, you can have role plays with that. This is a lot, but these are seed ideas of what you can do after the lesson has been introduced. Additional activities for.
I love that idea of seed ideas. And one of our audience members, Hala, has a really nice comment. She likes your sample lesson plan that you included 21st century skills as part of the objectives. So she says that's very impressive to you, Fatiha. So thank you for that.
Great. As you can see, I had mentioned OER, and I am I'm choosing here, we are selecting something that we got from this. So students are talking about the environment, the community, but make the visuals and the stories are very accessible. As you can see, it's the visuals of a young woman, young learner, young girl, who is engaged, who's talking about nature, trees. So it looks very simplistic, but it's very accessible. And you can also, it's deep, you can get them engaged about content, about environment and community using simple pictures or stories that you've taken from OER, and this is a free source. All right, now that we have, these are materials and cognitive supports. I'm also sharing with you ideas of what you can do if you're talking about the environment, what vocabulary supports. In CVI, as I was mentioning, the idea is interactive. You are getting students to look, instead of talking about something or describing it, you want to show visuals. So visuals are very powerful. Like here, for example, farming, you have a picture of farming, ecosystem, rainforest, waste, air pollution. And so students get the point quickly through images. And again, through graphic organizers, you want them, and these are your supporting tools to get students to get deeper into understanding vocabulary and cognitive concepts that are new to them. So again, supporting that idea that you want to provide support, but in a powerful way, very visual.
Yeah, very powerful. One of the commenters, Fatiha, was just saying that these prompts, these images can really elicit a bunch of values just from the visual aids. I think that's so great. That's such a great comment. So yeah, back over to you.
Yeah. So again, you've done a lot of, you've presented your material, they've been applying the activity, and now you want to get them deeper into the content. And one idea that's very hands-on, we're giving you two options. One option would be now apply what you have learned about the environment to a song of what's happening to your community. That could be around your home. So that could be write a song or poem. And it's focused on what's happening in your community about the environment. And a second option would be use the lesson vocabulary, for example, and the present progressive tense to create a comic strip about how people are hurting your, local environment. How pollution is hurting your local environment.
I love those two activities. Those are great. Music, as well as comic strips, such a great idea. Connecting into your local community about the environment. I love this lesson plan. I bet you lots of teachers will go and do this after today's webinar. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so again, we talked about younger learners. Now we have an older group of students, and they are more advanced also. So an option would be a practice activity that you can do could be more engaged. Students read different articles or text and work in pairs to write a summary. So this is a lot more involved, a summary. A second option would be students use the language objective to write a poem or song, just like we mentioned previously. Students use information from articles or text to debate about their finding or research within a group. Debating is very powerful, especially when students gain more language skills. A debate would involve group work, learning how to collaborate, learning how to work in and share your line, and also contribute to a bigger group. And so there's a sense of collaboration, critical thinking, research, reading, writing, and speaking. So debates are very powerful and appropriate for that level of student. And the additional option would be students present their finding to the class. So again, this would entail work, preparing and all that, and then sharing what they have found about the problem or whatever to the class. So they could do a little PowerPoint, or they can do sometimes a portfolio of their students' work. It could be just a story, or it could be a text that they developed as a group, arguing for a solution.
We have a nice comment coming in from Tina talking about the idea for her young learners in her context to create poems and short stories. So you're giving lots of great ideas to our wonderful teachers up there. Thank you, Fatiha. Back to you.
All right, so again, we've been talking about OER, and some people have asked about, would it be appropriate for any level? Yes, OER, you can, when you do your research and you're looking for text, you can adjust it to identify texts that are appropriate for your level and your group and your context. For example, there's here a text that you can use about culture. So it's just a general text that's really well written, easy to understand, but it's very focused on culture and what is culture in general. It's a general text on culture. And that would be very appropriate. And here with the higher level students, you want to engage them. Some people had mentioned role play, that's fine. But field trips are very powerful, especially going to a place, visiting a place, documenting what they have seen, writing questions before they go, focusing on getting answers to their questions when they visit, and coming back with tools and notes. And that can help them create a summary, a little portfolio of what they have discussed, create a podcast, anything. So field trip is very, very involved. So as you see, the more involved students are, the more engaging the activities can be. Case studies, very powerful too. Realia, we talked about objects, using objects to role play something, to debate. Realia is very important. Podcast interviews, interviewing someone and creating a summary of what you have learned from that person or a group, and then sharing this with the group. And here you are actually engaging students in content also, and powerful critical thinking, research skills, communication skills, innovation, and communication. Very powerful podcast. Good. Now, again, we'd like you to, how can you adapt these CBI activities for the unique needs of your classroom? We've been sharing with you quite a few ideas that have worked for teachers here, and we would like to see how you can adapt this.
Yeah, everybody, it's your turn again. Fatiha shared some great ideas and activities for a CBI classroom, but we're curious to hear how you would adapt these activities for your classroom, for your context, for your environment, for your unique needs in your classroom. So please let us know. We'd love to hear what you think about these activities and let us know about your classroom. So Fatiha will give everybody just a few moments to share and see what they have to say. Lots of people are just saying that they love all these ideas. I have one teacher saying that they love the idea of a podcast. They're really looking forward to using those. Let's see what else we have. We have like some really nice comments about just everyone just saying very useful strategies. We have a really nice comment from Jacqueline Viscara. She says, culture fosters students' imagination, so they are eager to build their own strategies to communicate through English. Absolutely, Jacqueline, that's wonderful. So let's see what other adaptations people are saying. We have Tina saying creating free poems and short stories will be very useful. Hala is saying that they'll adapt to make some posters. Oh, I like this one. This one is from Lisa Lunding. She likes to do Zoom interviews with an expert in a particular field. So that's a great idea. If you can't get out of the classroom on a class trip or a field trip, take advantage of technology and invite someone for a Zoom. That's wonderful. So then Tina also says field trips make students really think and learn in the reality as well as their own learning process. So it allows them to think critically about the context that they're in. So lots of great ideas, everybody. Great ways of adapting these activities. All right, Fatiha, back over to you.
Great ideas. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris.
Absolutely.
All right. So now that we have talked about, we got general overview, we know what guides CBI, we talked about resources, materials, cognitive supports and all that, and how it would adapt, how we can adapt all these resources to a younger group and an older group or more advanced. Now we're going to try to review strategies for incorporating self-directed learning to create more dynamic. So we're going to get more practical and try to be more focused on how we're going to do it again in a very focused way. Okay, so these are tools, tips, takeaways that we want to share with you that are really powerful. And if you are going to be using CBI in your class right away or next semester or in the summer, if you're using it, but you want to be thinking carefully about it. So the first piece of advice is start small with a simple CBI lesson activity. We shared with you a few ideas, but do a one-day CBI lesson activity. Just do one thing. Just practice something that's hands-on and focused on a theme. Just do, as I would say, start small, one day. And then for beginning intermediate EFL students, courses can be focused on narrower topics and themes. I talked about bigger themes like the environment, community, but you can make, and then you did mention, a lot of you have mentioned topics that would be more appropriate for your groups, and that's fine. This is important. You want to get buy-in from your school. If you have a principal, a program manager, someone you're working with, you want to make sure you get their support. So you have to explain and tell them what you're trying to do. I think you really want to get their support because what you're going to be doing is very creative, dynamic, and you want to get support from your school. Remember, if the teacher of your school has a set of grammar objectives for your level, that's fine. You can incorporate those objectives within your content objectives, and that's fine. So colleagues also try to get some other people within your school or your community to work to also be trying CBI. So it's good to have the more the merrier, the stronger the community, the better, because you're going to need support, especially some of you have mentioned materials and all that. You're going to need support to create this CBI environment.
Fatiha, would you mind just quickly explaining, when you say buy-in, there's a couple questions. What do you mean when you say getting buy-in from your school?
You want to convince your program managers or your school that what you're doing is based on effective teaching approaches. It's evidence-based. There are resources in your resource list. You can have them read some of these articles. There's a lot of research. CBI is really based on the latest teaching approaches in ESL and EFL. It's really a holistic approach that incorporates community language learning. Some people mentioned ESP, so it does incorporate and tap into the latest ESL methodology. So it's good to convince people. It's good to explain what you're trying to do, because it's focused on buy-in means support. You need to get support. You need to give people an understanding of what you're trying to do. It's not something you pulled out of your head. It's based on research. It's based on evidence. It's the work of many teachers and researchers who have discovered that this is the best approach. In fact, in Europe, they call it CLIL. CBI and the CLIL are the same. So Europe, so that's, you can, if they're not sure what it is, you can also give them that background.
Great, thank you so much. CLIL, content, language, and instruction learning. Wonderful. Let's carry on. Let's keep the ball rolling.
So as I said, you tried your first lesson, and now you want to develop a full CBI lesson plan, and I gave you a template. That's the next step. You develop a whole lesson plan, a full CBI, and then a unit plan. So let's say you're doing something on the environment again. So your theme, your general focus would be environment, but lesson 1 would be on water conservation. Water, what does it? And water is a big theme. So that's your lesson 1. Lesson 2 would be recycling. How to recycle, what does it mean, and why? Why should we recycle? Lesson 3 could be on farming, how to do a sustainable farming. What are people doing? It's very exciting. So each unit is focused on a piece of the bigger cake. And what makes CBI very powerful is that project-based learning, PBL. And we'll talk more about it. I'll give you more ideas about that. So a real unit, CBI unit would incorporate units like lesson 1, 2, 3, depends. You could do it, for example, in our situation, City University of New York, the program I was running, basically a CBI unit lasts a whole semester. So whole semester. Summer, for example, 6 weeks. So it's it could take a whole semester. It's a big unit. Or if you're teaching just 1 month, it depends. You tailor it to your needs. And the project is your final achievement.
Great. Do you have any example projects for us by chance?
Yes.
All right. Let's hear about these example projects.
All right. So again, project-based learning would be what you would get students to do at the end of after you do all your lessons, or project can be ongoing. For example, from lesson 1, they start thinking about the project. Lesson 2, they're still working on the project. 3, 4, by lesson 5, they have a project to present. So that's what we mean by project-based learning. So it's ongoing. Or it could be focused on 1 unit, but this is for example, how does a global problem or goal get achieved? So it could be a small goal, or it could be a big goal. So project-based learning allows students to practice using their critical thinking, academic and other skills to design and present a project related to a question or problem. So the key components of PBL in the ALT class include inquiry, research, collaboration, and communication skills. It's also presentation skills, writing, speaking, listening, and the 4 language skills. So you're really teaching all the skills. And so the benefits of PBL include improved academic skills and 21st century skills. So PBL is very, very powerful. All right, so these are examples of projects that have been done by different teachers, high schools, that I know about. So, for example, how to create a green school. It's a small project on the environment, and students discuss, they've done research throughout the semester, and now they have a presentation on what they have, how to make their school greener, more sustainable, less waste and all that. So that's one. How to conserve water in the community. So video and presentation. We waste a lot of water in general, so this is a great project also. Third one is Elders Speak. Some students collected stories from elders in the community who gave them some wisdom. They learned about how elders, wise advice from elders, how they can help make the community more sustainable, how they can conserve water. I mean, they have a lot of wisdom to share. So this would be a nice project. Presentation or collage on a community project that would benefit the school. Here, for example, in one high school, students worked with newcomers and they tried to welcome them. How do we make new students in the community more welcome? Sometimes there is a sense that you're new, and there's a sense of how can, so you avoid bullying and avoid being critical of new groups. So this would be a nice presentation.
Yeah, these are all great example projects, Fatiha. I love them. I think that we should ask the audience about these projects. So I think it's the audience's turn next. So everyone, it's your turn again. We'd love to hear from you. So Fatiha just shared some great example projects about creating a green school or how to conserve water in the community. I really like the one about the elders speak, getting the stories from the elders in your community, as well as creating a collage. But as always, everybody, we want to hear from you, from your context. What is one local or global problem that you could have your students study and work on to address a longer unit project? We'd love to hear from you. I'm seeing, Fatiha, lots of teachers are also saying about the environment, climate. We have another teacher, let's see, that's from Maria Jose, saying the environment. They're also saying a project about national sports. I really like that one too. Or even going deeper, a teacher in Brazil is talking about the deforestation in the Amazon rainforests. Someone likes your idea about bullying, if they have a problem or an issue with bullying in their school. So that's something that they could do a longer unit-long project on. Marco Antonio Gonzalez Serrano is saying, perhaps talking about crime or traffic accidents. That's interesting. Lots of people are interested in the environment. Ida is about saving the countryside, inclusion and accessibility. I really like that one too. Diversity and equity. So lots of great ideas, everybody. Great ideas, great comments, wonderful projects that you could address to a longer unit project. So let's keep it going. What do we have next, Fatiha?
Good. Well, now that we have talked about all these resources, the materials, again, I talked about lesson plans and what to do. This is a general overview of what you should have for your students. So again, if it's a low-level student, it doesn't have to be complicated. You want to share your overview with your students. And then with your director, we're working with the high school, and it's good to show them what you're trying to achieve. So this is a quick overview of what a course description should look like. You should have your content overview and goals. What is it that you want to achieve in terms of content? or concepts. The skills, what is it? What language skills are you going to be covering in this class? Evaluation process, how are you going to evaluate students' readiness and growth? Are you going to do tests? How often are the tests? Projects, what's the project? How many projects? Is it just one project? When is that going to? Usually for a CBI class, you want to have one big project that is presented at the end. And then also materials and resources. What materials and resources are you going to share with the students, or are you going to have in place? It's good to have a clear idea of what the attendance policy. Are you expect them to come every day? To class? Are they expected to? Is there any remote learning? It's good to clarify what you expect from students, because CBI is very interactive, very dynamic. You want to get buy-in from your students and from your program. It's very powerful. And class rules, there is a lot of there is a sense of cooperation, open. People should be able to talk, to negotiate. So you have to have some class rules, rules. Everyone has the same right, and so you want to be clear. And resources, support systems. Are you going to have a library where students? Is there a computer lab students have access to? Or what resources do you have in the school, or not? Or within the community? Is there something they can go to? And then again, your lesson 1, 2, 3. So you should have I think this will help you. So this could be a quick syllabus or a clear description to your program manager.
This is great. Wonderful organization tools, course design. How about some of CBI sample themes? Can you share some possible themes for us?
Yes, so basically these are themes that have been identified by UNESCO, global goals, and also identified as key themes by the 21st century skills partnership here in the US. These are themes that have been identified locally and globally by educators for students to learn to become 21st century ready, and also very appropriate CBI themes. Social justice is one. Global awareness, very powerful. Health literacy. What is health? Mental and physical health, and how does one attain health? And it's local, global, and individual. Environmental literacy. What does that mean? Do I really have to care about the environment, and why not? Financial, economic, business, and entrepreneurial literacy. How does one become ready? Have those literacies and skills. Civic literacy. What does that mean? We talked about community and family, so this is all being civil, women's leadership and development. So these are the basic general themes that you can use. You can also, as I mentioned, you can also narrow these themes and make them more appropriate and focused to the needs of your students, because it's your environment and you have to get students excited about the theme.
Love those themes, Fatiha. Those are wonderful themes. Lots of great comments coming in from the audience. That was wonderful. Thank you.
I guess we have covered an overview. We got an overview of the CBI approach. We discussed how to use texts and materials to implement CBI in a 21st century ELT class. We also reviewed strategies for incorporating self-directed learning to create more dynamic ELT classrooms today. So maybe we would like our audience to just reflect on today's session and write some of the takeaways for your class or context. Think about a strategy, an activity or project that you would like to use with your students starting tomorrow. No, starting soon. Share your responses in the chat or comments. So take a look at this, think about it, and write something.
Yeah, everybody, thank you so much. So as we wrap up today, let's take a moment to reflect and share your ideas. Please share your reflections in the chat. Maybe it was an activity that Fatiha shared with us. Lots of great engagement. But we want to thank you, Fatiha. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful overview of content-based instruction, some super effective strategies of how to implement CBI in the English language classroom.